The first thing I want to talk about this week is Kanye West.
Oh, great.
And like our like thoughts on him as a person and as a musician. That's why yesterday you were telling me like, oh, I want to talk about this topic. And I was like, hold off on that. I have a similar thing.
Kanye West did nothing wrong. Bill Cosby innocent.
So yeah, main reason why I wanted to talk about this is like, I know like you like certain Kanye songs, but I have no idea how you feel about him as a person. So like, I was interested in like how you think of him.
I think he's an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's entertaining. I love seeing him. I love that he says what he wants to say, and I can appreciate that in somebody, especially someone in his kind of how famous he is and how he's kind of set it himself as this kind of person, and that's fine. That's who he wants to be. Props to you. But he's stupid. like it seems like every other thing that comes out of his mouth, if he's not rapping, and even sometimes when he's rapping, is kind of like really out of the box or just really like stupid. But the guy has bars. The guy's a great musician. He has great stage performance. I appreciate him as an artist.
We were listening to Late Registration on the way here. So fucking good.
Like I can't deny a Kanye song. It pumps you the fuck up.
Yep.
But I think he's an idiot.
That feel when you fuck this model and she just bleached her asshole and you get bleach on your t-shirt and I'ma feel like an asshole.
Yeah, like he's polarizing. He's one of the most I think he is the most polarizing artist of our age. But like, just as a person though, like if you're someone who's like, oh, he's a shitty person and his music sucks, like
you're wrong.
His music doesn't suck.
To that extent, like you're wrong in a way. Where
people who say
he does have like, I don't think any of his albums are like 10 out of 10s. I know you think that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is the best album of
of the life
of this generation. I do really like that album. That's probably my favorite Kanye album, but I still don't think it's like this amazing, like holy shit sort of thing. He knows how to start albums. That's the thing. He knows how to like bring everything up to the front of the table. But to an extent, like after like Monster in My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I'm like, all right,
run away, man.
Yeah, but they're like after that, like. That entire album is really, really good. You still have like 3 or 4 tracks on it where you're like, I could have passed this over.
There's one song on that album that I don't like, and I always skip over when I listen to it, and it's So Appalled.
Yeah, that's the one. And I think that's after Monster, and that's where I just have that drop. I'm like, all right, I really don't care about this album anymore.
There's always a certain point in like most of the projects that he's in where that happens, and there's usually a downfall to it where he starts off really strong because he has this idea in his head, then he kind of gets too caught up
it's sort of like J.J.
Kanye.
Abrams with TV shows where he starts off really strong, and then after the first season it's just like, what the fuck is
like
this?
When it comes to a long project, he's gonna end up getting too caught up in Kanye himself.
Yeah,
and
caught up in Kanye.
So to be honest,
girl.
Like, people think he is like very about himself and whatnot. To be honest, I think he just does it just to fuck with people.
Oh yeah.
Like I honestly like. Here's the thing: Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny says to be a ballin' ass baller. This is a loose quote. Don't actually hold me to this. To some extent, he said something along the lines of to present yourself as though like you're like one of the cool people on the internet, just act like it, you know? And then like people will start to think like, oh shit, like that's
he's
cool.
He's a cool guy. I want to hang out with him. I want to sit next to him on the bus.
So I think Kanye to an extent is just sort of doing that where he's just like, I'm going to act like this. And then, you know, a lot of people are going to pay attention. It's like also like Donald Trump in a way where Donald Trump just says whatever the fuck he wants. And you know what? People pay attention. And that's
entertaining.
To that extent, it's scary because Donald Trump could actually have some sort of power in our government.
While Kanye West, we just want him in power.
But especially with like this new album, The Life of Pablo, it's another example where I think he starts off really strong and then
someone's not living the life of Pablo.
Throughout the like after like the first like 5 tracks, I'm like, okay, there's still like some tracks later on where I'm like, okay, yes, this is the fucking slap. Like the album, the album starts out great. I think Ultralight Beam is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like a great sort of gospel like track. And
Famous.
Holy shit, that breakdown at like near the end of that song, like
The Sister Nancy sample.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know if I agree with like what he said about Taylor Swift. Like I think
He's just saying that, he's saying that
it's-
just to rile people up.
he is. He definitely is. Like I don't know if I totally like enjoy the line where he's like, I feel like me and Taylor could still have sex or something. I'm like, what was the point? Like, yeah, he's just trying to rile people up. I think the line after that though is funny, where he's like, I made that bitch famous. And I was like,
God damn.
He'll
Sorta,
have sex with her, and then that'll turn into another bonus track.
But like the thing is that like a lot of people aren't talking about this, but Taylor Swift being a shady ass bitch about that part.
Well, not even about that, just about everything in
Well,
fucking
apparently
general.
what happened was
Kind of a
she knew about the famous line. She didn't know about the still have sex with her line.
Oh no, she did.
Oh, really?
Like they went. He and Kanye.
she liked it.
He and Kanye. She and Kanye went over.
Ye and Kanye? So
Ye-
Kanye and Kanye?
Kanye.
Yo, Kanye, you like this beat? Yeah, I like it. Kanye, put it on the album.
I
Yeah,
love you, Kanye.
Kanye producing himself.
I love Kanye as much as Kanye loves Kanye. I'm Mr. All Kanye, straight out the gold Kanye.
That track is so fucking good. And like when we were listening to that in the car earlier, you're like, see, it's tracks like these that make me think he's insane. But I actually think that's one of the smartest tracks on that album.
I want to.
Because it's him commenting on like how his fans are so sort of wishy-washy about him, and like praising like the old him, but whenever like a new album comes out, like immediately like they're like, oh shit, like this is awesome, but then like after a couple months they're like, oh whatever, that wasn't as good as like the first two albums, you know. So it's just like
Kanye's
That was
like,
really
all I
good.
need is me.
But like, I really want to make like a full beat for "I Love Kanye." Just like a full remix of it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I don't know. I think again, like going back to the, I can understand if you don't like him as a person, but you can't deny that he
Yeah, no.
is one of the smartest like producers when it
No,
comes
he's in
to
debt.
making beats and making tracks.
Yeah.
I had a relative who when was it the Grammys last year where
Or Beck
Beck
one.
won, and then he went on stage, and then he was like, "Nah, never mind." Like calling back to the whole Taylor Swift fiasco. And a relative of mine posted on Facebook, and they were like, "I can't believe he would have the gall to do this. Like, who the fuck does he think he is?"
Straight
Like,
up calls him the N word.
I don't like. Some of my family is vaguely racist, but I don't think they're like.
Well, yeah, it's
straight
Ohio.
Up, yeah, we're right above the religious belt, so yeah, we're still gonna get a little bits of that. But anyway, like they're like, there's no way he's an artist and all of this stuff. I'm like, again, like, and I posted, I was like, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Listen to that and say it isn't like at least good. Then you're just coming from a place of hate at this point. And I don't even, like when he did that with Beck, I don't even think he was trying to be like Beck's album is shitty or anything.
He was
like
trying to be funny and like
I
bring that
honestly
up.
think he was just trying to be like,
The joke is because Beyonce lost to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Beyonce and Beyonce,
And
like
that was the
he
better
loves
album.
Beyonce, and so that's when Taylor Swift won. Wasn't that like oh, I'm gonna let you finish, but I honestly think that Beyonce had like the best. Or was
Beyonce had one of the greatest music videos of all time. One of the greatest music videos of all time.
So I think he was just trying to.
Taylor Swift doesn't care about black people.
I was watching that video recently. Oh my god, I remember seeing that actually on television when they
And
were,
just watching
just like
Mike Myers just go.
They're standing next to Mike Myers. They're raising money for fucking Hurricane Katrina, and just like they're just talking about it. And they're doing the fundraising. And they're like just trying to be really. And out of the fucking blue, just with no context, George Bush doesn't care about black people. Just out of the fucking blue.
And Mike
It's
Myers
the
is like,
best thing ever, best video I think of all time. It's just that.
Beautiful.
Now that's one of the greatest music videos of all time.
So I understand if you don't like Kanye as a person. I totally get that. But from a musical standpoint, if you try to if you think of yourself as like, oh, I can like look at music objectively and not subjectively and all that stuff, and if you think like that but don't think any of his music is good, then you're obviously putting your own like emotions and feelings into it.
Yeah, I don't really like him as Kanye. I mean, I don't know. It's not even that.
When I was blasting "Touch the Sky," you're like, oh yeah.
He was the old Kanye, straight out the goal, Kanye.
I don't know. I'm like just kind of over him.
Yeah,
but I still see him. I recognize him as a musician, and I think that's like enough.
Yeah,
he's not like Miley Cyrus or anything that cheapens both. I think like he at least does something for the music community, and he's a huge part of it. And I downloaded some of his music last week because of all this shit. I'm like,
because you're like,
I
miss the old Kanye.
I'm like, hey, if you can't beat him, join him. I was like, just started listening to it.
So I want to move on from here. That was just like a quick little topic I just wanted to talk about.
Kanye as much as Kanye
loves Kanye. Just because like he's become relevant again because of the life of Pablo and.
Because every time he does something,
again, it's like Trump. Every time he does something, people talk about it.
Kanye took a shit the other day. Oh fuck.